Previously on Old Iron Adventures, Aumann Auctions hit the road once again, with Tyson heading up to Springfield, Illinois, where he found a perfect all-original tractor. Bob Lyons stopped by Nokomis as well, showing off his incredible collection. Then, Brian Holst kept busy across Nebraska, making sure two collections made it back to Nokomis safely. Aumann Auctions has been in business for over 60 years and has been the leading force around the world in vintage power. And we're going to show you why. Through adventures around the world, you'll see vintage tractors, trucks, cars, memorabilia, and so much more. Aumann Auctions isn't just an auction company, but a group of men and women with a passion for the stories behind these items. Welcome to Old Iron Adventures. The action continues in Nebraska, with Elijah, Brian, and Lucy working on the Jim Newworth collection. But as the semi-truck arrives to the property, they begin to realize there's a slight problem. Brian begins to talk to the driver, who informs Brian and the rest of the crew that he's provided only 5 straps for his pickup, which would have to be able to strap down 25 to 30 bikes.
Wow. Well, we certainly got an issue to deal with here. The driver pulls up and explains to us that he only has 5 or 6 straps for about 35 or 40 motorcycles that we're trying to fit in this trailer. So a big challenge now is first getting all the motorcycles in there off the ramp that we had to ratchet strap down because there's no lip to put them on. So the ramp's unstable while hauling some expensive, good, rare vintage bikes up there.
Right.
To the floor.
Right.
Screw 2x4s to the floor.
You put the straps around the 2x4 so they're bolted, screwed to the floor, and then up to the handlebars. Now, is the driver going to let us screw that much into his floorboards?
I don't see how that's an option.
Not me.
Him saying that he only has 5 or 6 is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just unacceptable.
I guess the plan now is to go get some 2x4s nailed to the wood and then hold the ratchet strap, make the wood hold the ratchet strap, and that's how we're going to hold the bikes down, which is going to take, we're going to have to clear out some stores for some ratchet straps. We're going to have to raid a lumber yard for all this. Went south real quick, but we're problem solvers. It's what we do. So hopefully we're going to get on the road here pretty soon to go get all those ratchet straps and that lumber, and hopefully it'll be a solved problem here in the near future. At least that's what the staff and I hope. It's a mess, but we'll get her done. We only got so much time, so every second counts while doing this.
With a change in plan set in stone, Lucy and Elijah hit the road for one mission only: pick up as many straps as quickly as you possibly can in Scottsbluff.
our stops. We got probably enough ratchet straps to tie down Godzilla here. I mean, we just got a ton. So right now we're just getting all the ratchet straps we could accumulate, and we're going back to the site and seeing if our plan now would work. We got a few people back there loading up bikes, so when we get there, we should just be able to strap them down and send the trucker on its way. You know, it's a little inconvenience in our day, but you got to do what you got to do. And right now we are just getting back there and try to get everything done.
One of the main features of last week's episode was Bob Lyons and his wonderful collection of vintage power. This week, Bob finishes up his presentation by talking about his incredibly rare Ford V8 tractor.
There were twin brothers whose last name was Funk. They were big in the aircraft business, and they heard about this, and they asked Delbert to bring his tractor to Coffeyville, Kansas, and they wanted to talk about maybe making kits. So they took it there, and he made 3 kits, gave 2 of them to Delbert Husenfeld and 1 to his cousin, Quentin Nelson. Delbert went home, put the kit in an 8N Ford, and sold it to a neighbor. The other kit, he did the same and sold it to a person he really didn't know that well. Okay, in 1994, now these guys are sitting around the table, and Delbert was telling me about the Funk Boys made 3 of these kits and gave them to Delbert. And so I said, do you know where that tractor is? And he said, oh yeah, I know the guy that's got that first one. And I said, you ought to try to buy that. And he said, well, why? And I said, it may be a collector item someday. Well, he went home and contacted the fellow that had it, and he got it bought. Now, what's unusual about this tractor is in order to fit a V8 engine in, you had to have a bigger radiator, and so they had to widen this hood. So they had to add 6 inches to the hood in order to get that 8-cylinder engine in it. Here's the original hood that they had repaired, and when Delbert got the tractor bought back from the fellow he had made it for, he took this hood back to Coffeyville, and Mr. Funk signed it, and Delbert signed it, and so that's why I've got this old hood, because it's got Joe Funk twice and Delbert. And they did this in October of 2002. But this is the original hood that has 6 inches added. Well, farmers aren't very good at sheet metal, and they certainly weren't interested in making this wider, so they didn't make any more of these. What they did is they still put an 8-cylinder engine in, but they put in a bigger fan that's higher, and they went over the top. Okay, this is part of the Funk deal, and that's because the motor required more length. Also, this is an 8BA motor that was made in 1949. They made 3 different versions of this engine, and the last one was 49 to 53, so this has the last flathead V8 Ford motor. And also they made a cast iron oil pan that helped replace the rails that were in the other conversions. Also, this tractor has a Sherman high and low speed, so you really got 3 speeds. You got first high, regular first, and first low. So you go through the four speeds forward and 1 reverse. Also in this is a live power takeoff, and that live PTO is really rare in an 8N Ford. So this tractor has several additions to the normal tractor. Okay, once we got this stuff all established, I asked Delbert if we couldn't put this in writing, what he had done. So when we finally got around doing it, Quentin Nelson had died. And so I have the history on this thing. And then I have Delbert's signature and Harold Luden's signature, and exactly how the Funk brothers had instructions on adding an 8-cylinder motor to an 8N Ford. Also, I have on here the live PTO in a Ford, how it is installed and how it works, and it's also got I guess it's sales literature for the drill press grinding wheel setup. So I'm not really doing any music, I just got a music stand, and that goes with the tractor.
Finishing up at Joel Jansen's collection, we get to see the rest of his amazing collection of John Deere tractors that he's collected over the years.
Well, we just basically started by getting a couple of tractors to help with my parking lot at my dental office. And they were so much fun to have around that we expanded on the virus of collecting tractors. My dad and I had farmed together for a number of years, and he was a farmer for 50 years. So the John Deere part was the only type that we ever used. So that's kind of where the hobby started. And then we got into industrial tractors, of which we do a collection of tractors when we get them. So if we have a series, it'll be a 1010, 2010, 3010, 4010, or a 300, 400, 500, 600, something like that. And for some other reason, the big industrial things, the scrapers, that was just a love of John Deere. They are absolutely impossible to maintain and to use, but they were going to be destroyed. And that was not an option for a good old John Deere boy. The probably #1 favorite tractor that we have is a 4010 gas industrial. There were 10 of those made, and the tractor that we got was from an industrial dealer in Omaha, and it was 2 days from being salvaged for scrap. They had no idea what they had, and it didn't look as good as what it does now. Every tractor that we restore, and I had a couple friends helping me, and actually had a full-time employee by the name of Gary Sortino. Every tractor took about a year. So everything was taken apart, everything sandblasted, painted, put back together, and it's just a labor of love. And that's the neat part about taking something that looks crummy and making it look like it's brand new. The other one that is probably the most important is the 830 on steel wheels. That is a unrestored tractor, and it was probably Jack Cherry, the 2-cylinder man, his favorite tractor because it was unrestored. That is a very rare tractor on steel, especially with the spoke wheels, and it runs really nicely. So it'll be fun to watch it auction off. Doing the archives, we a lot of times would use Jack and Brenda from 2-cylinder, and her research said that it appeared to be the last steel-wheeled tractor 830 produced. After that, they did not make the spoked wheels. They made rimmed wheels with cast iron centers that you could put steel instead of rubber, but they didn't have the spokes. They had a casting. So according to what she could find out, this may have been the last produced complete steel wheel tractor rather than one that be converted to rubber or steel spikes. It should spark a lot of interest in a lot of people.
We've been real lucky on this collection here. Dr. Jansen's been working very hard at getting all these tractors up and running. I think we've only got one, maybe two tractors so far that will not run and probably won't be running by the end of the auction. He has really put a lot of effort, a lot of batteries, a lot of fuel, a lot of points into these tractors to get them up and operational. Really helps us on our job. A whole lot easier to move big old beasts like this when they are on their own power rather than us trying to tow them around. So we've been really fortunate that way, and that is what has helped us basically be a little bit ahead of our game plan that we anticipated. So kudos to Dr. Jansen and his crew for helping us out in that regard. So every little bit helps.
The reason for the sale is, number one, age, and maintaining this is not easy. So I have two grandsons that are 21 years old. They love everything, but they can't change their tire. So keeping this and having something tragic happen to me would be a disaster for my wife, my daughter, and my grandkids to try and sell. So that's the reason we decided to dispense with almost everything at this point in time. It has nothing to do with we don't like the collection, it has to do with timing. We used Aumann Auctions because they are nationwide and they're known for taking care of specialty collectible tractors, either John Deere, International, whatever. But they go countrywide and people watch their list. Our local auction guys, good friends of mine, they had no idea what many of these tractors were. They'd never seen them before. And they do connect to the internet, but nobody checks the internet on a local auction company. And so to get it publicized, that's the reason we went with your auction company. Brian is a wonderful person, and he has been really easy to work with. At one point in time, we had a whole collection of military tractors. They were all built for the Seabees. There was a 300 series, a 400 series with a electromagnet, 500 series, and a 600 series. The 600 would have been a 40/20 in the industrial dress. That particular tractor had 126 original hours, which is nothing. And we wanted to gift those to a military museum, and Brian was good enough to appraise them so that we could gift them to a museum. And an outside appraiser has to do that. I can't appraise them myself. So those were really neat things for Brian to do, and he was real helpful with that. And he's real easy to work with, real calm, which is what we need.
Well, here we are, wrapping up on the last day here at Dr. Jansen's location. It's been a great time. We've still been dodging rain all throughout the whole event here. The team's been working fantastic. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. Don't tell Kurt that, but we've been knocking some things out. We got some crew members wrapping up the parts right now. Shannon and Russell's getting that wrapped up. Bob and Austin and I, we're on the tail end of these tractors here, getting all the videos run. Again, we're dodging the rainstorms, which has been a real challenge, but it's been a great time here. Dr. Jansen's been fantastic. Got a few tractors from the neighboring gentleman. Mr. Rod is helping us out a lot. He's bringing over 5 tractors, I guess it is. So we're all set here to wrap up. Hope everything's going well for everybody. See you next time. Keep your hand on the throttle and on the ground.
Next time on Old Iron Adventures. The crew work hard to overcome the hurdles in front of them in Scotts Bluff. But meanwhile, Chris Hudson does a walkthrough of the Eric Myers collection.